of New Bedford High School, if you are listening.
Well, I guess the first question I'd have to ask is, what's really going on at New Bedford High School? John referenced the article the other day in the paper, and I agree. I'm not sure what was true and what was not true in that article. I think one of the things that I can do is to be an advocate. I'm a proud graduate of New Bedford High School. I was there in 1986, and that experience there was what took me to be able to become a college graduate, a master's degree, and the life that I'm leading today. So I think what we need to do is we as school committee members, we need to make sure that we're not just talking to the superintendent, we're not just talking to other elected officials. I agree, we need to get into the schools. I'm an administrator in Dartmouth. I work every day with school committee members coming by, talking to me, asking the questions. If I am fortunate to be elected, I promise you this, I will talk to you, the students. I will talk to your teachers. And then when I hear the good things that are going on about New Bedford High, we will broadcast it, we will advertise it. But when we hear about the concerns going on, we will work with you to make sure we're creating solutions to make New Bedford High what it always has been. And I'm sure a lot of it still is today.
Thank you.
Obviously, as I said earlier, this is a priority for me, and I have some ideas. Some of it is just correcting some of the perception that's out there. So New Bedford High School has historically had around a 50% graduation rate. Last year we got the news that it's up over 70% for the first time in perhaps forever. But that's something that most of the city doesn't realize, right? They still think it's 50%, the school's failing, not doing well. A lot of improvements have been made there. The graduation rate is soaring, and we expect it to continue to go up. A lot of our students are doing very incredible, very impressive things that we need to double down on. So we need to continue to market those successes. I thought the article the other day was terrific, and it really broke down some of those perception issues. But we need to continue to market that. We have to continue to invest resources in the high school. I just got today in my school committee packet for a meeting we have next week, the NEASC review, which is a really comprehensive review of all the school's practices. And thumbing through it, it's 90 pages long. It's mostly positive. Mostly things that have been put into place over the last 4 years that didn't exist prior to that. So I think we're well on the right track. We still have to make some improvements. The work's not done, certainly, but we're getting there. Thank you.
I want to try a novel approach that seemed to work for the Navy for a couple hundred years, and why our school committee can't get it in their heads, is you hire qualified people, set their parameters, and then you let them get to work and do the job. Boy, that's a really unique approach to management. You hire people, and you expect them, and you hold them accountable to do their job. Geez, I wonder why the school committee hasn't heard of that. Because they certainly haven't let Pia Durkin, they just let her run loose, let her do it, and she does whatever she wants. She tells the school committee what she's going to do. New Bedford High School has got a great principal, headmaster in there in Bernadette. She's doing great work. And I think if you let Bernadette go on and let Bernadette do what she needs to do, let our community relations manager, who...
Thank you, Mr. Oliveira. I want to remind the audience, if you have any questions, please go fill out an index card in the back. Our next question will be for Mr. Amaral. With technology advancing in our school systems, how would you work to keep the technology in the schools up to date?
Sure, and this is something that's really important and something that we talk about during the budget process. That as part of your normal budgeting cycle, you need to be setting aside money to continue to refurbish your technology as you go, right? We can't get into the business of replacing all of our computers all at once. We just don't have the resources to do that. But if you replace, 1/7 of all the computers you have every year, over the course of 7 years, you'll have new and useful technology continuing on and on. We've solicited the philanthropy dollars, and we've gotten major assistance from Erwin Jacobs in providing technology at our high school. We've also done a lot of work to outfit our elementary schools, some of those older schools, with Wi-Fi technology so that they can last into the future. Those buildings can last into the future. So it's all about setting aside the dollars and being really smart and strategic with how you manage your budget. And that's something that we'll advocate for and continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amaral. Mr. Oliveira?
Absolutely, we need to ensure that our equipment, our curriculum that we need for teaching, that we're educating our children with, stays up to date. And that is something that Josh is right. You can't just go out and buy all new computers for the entire New Bedford Public Schools every year or every 2 years. They don't last very long before the technology is old. But we do need to have it in place program within the school system where we are making these purchases on a routine basis. So we don't end up in a situation like we have with the maintenance of our schools that have let them been run down, or the roads in our city, okay? This is the same concept that the mayor uses with the roads. We'll patch them, we'll fix them. What we need to do is we need to schedule this money every year over the long term, over a 5-year, 10-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oliveira. Mr. Porter?
Well, thank you. And Josh and John are right. Technology is not cheap. So when you have something like that, you need to make sure you have a master plan, a strategic plan. Because with something like that, you can then get the best bang for your buck. And that needs to be long-term as well. But when we're talking about technology, we also have to look at how we can have existing, like your own devices. Children every day are bringing their iPhones and Androids, and there's a movement right now on how do we have those devices help us in the educational process. But I also would like to see in that master plan, as we're talking about technology, is teaching our students about digital literacy and how to be responsible and how to manage all the content of technology. It's not cheap, but the other thing we must also do is we have to advocate for the community. Many of our voters do not understand the technological advances today and how they support and help us in education. But the important thing we must remember is that technology never replaces a teacher. It enhances the educational experience, but you need that person, that educated person, to guide you through this.